back to the spark plug segment of this job. You know, I put these E3s in. They're supposed to be good for 100,000 miles, and I'm sure they are, but this engine had a weird ping. And so we tried running some high octane fuel and it lessened it. One thing about pinging, it's not good, but it's not the type of ping that the computer picks up on. So one, you have too much plug in here, and we're having what's known as a super knock, or two, we had some oxygen getting in and leaning out the cylinders. Now, even though the computer can compensate, I can tell you something with Nissans is they run a real tight fuel ratio, and if anything gets in that upset, too much air, low fuel pressure, anything in that realm, you can create a knock. But my guess, when I started hearing it, that the way the E3s fire is that it's just too much plug for this. So we're going to go back in with the iridiums, the original spark plugs that came with this engine, and that's about the best thing I can tell you. But I'm kind of interested to see how 55,000 miles, how these plugs fared. Alright, let's get the first one out. Number one cylinder does have the odd coil pack. It's the only one that's kind of upright, and the rest are all flat, and that's because the intake's so large they had to do that. But you need 10 mil. We're going to do this one at a time. And then we're also going to count which cylinder we came out of, see if we can figure out what this issue is with this little bit of ping I have. It gets pretty loud. I was kind of shocked when it started doing it. Didn't do it the first couple of years we had these plugs in, but as these plugs got worn, something was going on. Someone's had this intake off before, I know that much. Maybe not the lower, but the mid and upper, it's been off once. I had no misfire codes. Coil packs still look pretty good. So, it's kind of the way it goes. Sometimes experiments don't always yield the fruits we want to see. Now, if you've watched the first time that I did the plugs on this, we anti-seized it. So we're going to see if we're going to have odd noises coming out with it. I hope not. It's kind of the reason why we did. Anti-seize on it. Wow, that's so tight.
Well, I guess that's good, right?
No.
No? Well, you see someone's been in there before then.
Well, I did the plugs when this thing had 95,000 miles on it.
95,000? Ooh. That was actually good for this thing.
I just can't believe these are that tight. Now, I did torque them to spec. It's about 14 to 22 foot-pounds. But that is really tight. Now, mind you, the shop's cold, so I do have the wood stove going. You're going to hear that in the background, and I'm not turning it off for the sake of this video.
It is cold, and we're
the engine, normally when I do these, I like to do them after they've ran a little bit. But in this case, because we're in this far and we have access, we're just going to work our way through it.
I'm sure when we start this engine, it's going to get hot.
Well, yeah.
Real hot.
If you're having a hard time, like I'm having a hard time, what you really want to do is just go back and forth so you don't eat the threads. So I'm going to tell you what, I don't want to fix a cylinder thread problem. Feels like to me we've got some carbon buildup. We are using our magnetic spark plug tool. I will say if you don't have one, get one. They're a lot better than those rubber jobs. Yeah, it's a $22 tool, but I'll tell you what, makes a difference. I'm not seeing nothing terribly too bad with at least the first one we pulled up. I'm going to show you the difference between the E3 and the factory iridiums. But what I think is going on is with the way that the spark can jump to either side, it's just not consistent, and this engine just don't like it, or there's hot spots developing on the E3 top here. I mean, it looks good for 55,000 miles, but again, something is causing a ping that should not be there. It's not too bad. Alright, with these kind of plugs, do not gap them. They are pre-gapped from the factory.
Well, some people do that.
Now, next time a single knee plugs will be about 250,000 miles. Put a little anti-seize on. Don't get crazy with it, but definitely want to put some on. As you seen, these threads were a little tough to get out. It'll get in the threads and keep it from galling out. Because I'll tell you what, this one was a tough one. 8,000 for that blazer. I didn't. Yeah, that one I expected to go for that.
An 85, yeah. Man, this is why blazers cost so much.
Is it worth it?
I'll get a blazer and we'll put a big old engine in it and smack it around.
All right, definitely going in a lot easier than coming out. Now in this model, I am going to use a torque wrench on. This one is what we call weird and unique.
This QX4 is full of weird and unique.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're gonna go. I think I remember last time I went 10 and 20.
Are those the specs for the plugs?
It's 14 to 22, but
14.
I want to make sure I don't over torque these.
Mm. Yeah, you don't want to strip them or thread them or break them.
No. Okay, so we're at 10. Let's go to 15. Okay. Now this engine, I'm very careful.
Well, this will be running, up and running in no time, so.
There's 18. 20. 22. And stop. Alright. Coil back in. Now don't worry about the torque on the coil pack. Quarter pass stop, call it good.
It's really tiny.
Yeah, you definitely got to have a tiny set of tools to work on this.
Yeah. Considering.
Okay, number 1 is done. Okay, we're going to go after number 3 cylinder. Sometimes you can get away leaving the coil pack hooked up, but this engine, no. Yeah, rarely do I actually change plugs twice on a vehicle I own. I've done it on my 95 that I own. It's probably had 3 sets of plugs in it, 17 years. This one will be the 3rd set of plugs this engine's had.
That's at 3?
Well, this will be number 3. Factory, what I have E3s, and then the ones I'm putting in today.
Oh boy.
Yep. Alright, let's see how hard this bad boy's gonna come out.
Surprising this thing blows through spark plugs.
No, 97,000 on it. They didn't look too bad.
So after 96 and 100K.
I mean, these engines run so clean today that, you know, you don't have to do 30,000 mile spark plug changes. Most people don't even change spark plugs till they get a misfire.
Yeah, so you have the OEM on there, just like that Impala.
Middle one wasn't too bad.
Seems like always the first one to be tighter.
biggest complaint on this vehicle, they do not like the fuel mileage. It's about 210 miles per full tank, 16 gallons.
That it? Find a lot of complaints?
So as I suspected, we were probably having pinging because of hot spots on the plugs. And right there, you can see where it's ashy. That can be a hot spot. So what will happen is it'll essentially diesel. This will act as like a glow plug, so it'll get hot and fire the fuel before the actual event's supposed to occur. You get the ping. So like I said, I think it's just a little too much plug for this particular engine. I don't think E3 plugs are bad as far as their design, but I think in certain applications they're just no good.
That's recent.
One thing I like about Iridium plugs, I don't have to worry about the gap on them.
Because they're already gone.
They're already good.
I guess that's helpful.
I probably wouldn't put double platinums in here. I would just stick with the factory had. I mean, power gains, this thing has so much power that it's ridiculous to try to get more out of it. Now, if you want to get better fuel economy, then you have an argument.
Fuel economy. This thing already guzzles just like every other car we have here.
Yeah, I got a couple customers when I offer them to sell them a vehicle, they're like, what's gas mileage? Like every other vehicle, not good.
Like, dude, over in Spokane, our gas mileage is horrible, but on the highway,
Part of the problem in where we live as far as the fuel economy goes is we got hills.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm driving that Hemi and driving your truck back, I saw that fuel mileage dip to 5.
Oh, I know. I know. When I saw that, I was just like, wow, okay. So how many of these are there?
6.
6.
6, because it's a V6.
And how
It's
do you
not
get
a Hemi, so I don't have 12 or 16.
That'd be horrible. So how do you get to the other ones? This is what, 3?
This is cylinder number 3.
Cylinder number 3, and you worked on 1.
1, 3, and 5.
1, 3, and 5. So you have. How do you get to the other one's far away in the back?
I'll show you.
Because I know that's going to be an issue.
It's not too bad on this.
I'm sure if you'd had like 12 on them, you'd have a fun time getting that thing.
Alright, do want to check coil packs for any weirdness. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with these coil packs.
They look kind of clean. Really clean for when you open them.
Got a little bit of heat checking in this one, but again, this is 150,000 miles. You don't replace these until you get a misfire.
So does this thing have any codes as soon as you...
Nope.
Okay. I was wondering.
It had no codes, and the fuel trims weren't too bad. It was about 6.
Does mine have any codes?
There's an air intake code, but they fixed that, but they couldn't clear it.
Oh. Okay, so it's clear.
So we
then.
don't know. We're going to clear the codes on yours and then drive it and see what comes up.
Yeah, okay, good.
That's how that goes.
Yeah.
This was the last year of this engine that had steel valve covers. 02, 03 were plastic.
Wow, well, that'd be bad.
Yeah, I don't care for plastic. And I know they're all going to it and it
Well,
works, but...
I think new cars are on that now.
Yeah. Okay, cylinder number 5. This one is a little interesting because we got a couple sets of wires. Now, in my other video, I actually disconnected this side, but I don't have to this time. I don't have an intake in my way. So I don't suggest taking the intake off to do plugs.
Yeah, well, we were gonna do it anyways.
We're already here.
Yeah, so might as well.
We are already here.
Because it's all easy at that point. It's just slap it back in. They're still trying to buy that thing.
Alright, coil up. Weasel it out.
Is that clean? Any,
No problem there.
Can those coils ash?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah, because there's like, I've seen coils that you pulled out, they're really ashy and they break and crack.
Yep, it does happen.
I think one of your guys' trucks had them, where you took the coil out and it was cracked.
Yep. Yeah, we get Toyotas in here once in a while. We get a misfire code, and that's the first thing I check is the insulators. I don't mess with nothing else.
Well, most of them have that problem.
Man, even though I anti-seize these are still tough plugs. Not as bad as number 1 though.
Factory. Well, not really. I hope everything just clicks back on, huh? Are you gonna put the cover back on?
Oh yeah.
Because I know Mom likes her covers.
This one, the covers don't trap heat, so...
Oh, something they actually figured out. Sick. Because, you know, most of Kevin's covers and your covers cover heat. So.
On the Hemis, take it off.
Kia. Yeah, we have a Kia hood, or cover, sitting here.
Yep, so on this cylinder, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. I hope it does. We actually have a spot on top of the spark plug. Yeah, right there. That should not be there. So that might have been our cylinder that was doing it.
Well, time to replace it.
Yep.
I bet you this thing will start running real good, like a dream. Mom's gonna.
It was running pretty good before it broke down, but the problem is it started pissing coolant everywhere, and can't have that.
Yeah, Mom's gonna be like, "Oh, my car, it's back! No one drive it."
Yeah. Okay, back in we go. Always start these by hand.
These seem easy enough to do.
It's not too bad once you got access. When the intake's on, then it's a little bit more detailed.
Maybe when my plugs go on my truck, I could probably do them.
Yeah, yours are pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
Magnums are easy to work on.
Oh, yeah, I gave you that key, I was going to say.
Oh, this is one of those that fooled me.
The one that's off spec.
One that felt like it was ready to torque down, and whoop, there was more.
But I gotta add more to it. This is why you never trust a plug.
Okay, 15, 20. Book calls for 14 to 22.
One, 3, and 6, or 1, 3, and 5?
135,
1, 3, 5,
246.
2, 4, 6. Okay, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. Sounds like a security code number.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like your social pin.
Okay, don't forget to plug in number 5, or you're going to have a real lumpy QX4, and it's not because it's got a cam, because... Alright, I ran through passenger side 135 pretty quick. It actually didn't go too bad. Now we're going to switch the cameras around.